Wednesday, January 10th, 2024. Oh my gosh, what a big day. Um, the View starts with a couple of hot topics before we get to Liz Cheney. Um, that which is its own little. We'll talk about it later. So the first argument is that Trump goes in uh, to make his case that uh, that all of these cases against him should be thrown out because a president, uh, while under while in office, has blanket immunity to the point where even if he had SEAL Team 6 assassinate a political rival, should he be convicted of that, his or should he be prosecuted for that? And his legal team said no, not unless he was impeached and convicted by Congress first. That's a political act. Impeachment is a political act. That's all that is. It has no bearing on the courts whatsoever, or the judicial system. So it's kind of a moot point. And I think it's fairly well scrutinized across the board that this argument's not going to hold. This court's not going to see it their way. It will end up at the Supreme Court. I don't see, even as stacked as the Supreme Court is, how they could, what kind of gymnastics they would have to pull in order to let that argument stick. The president's job is to uphold the Constitution, not violate it and get away with it. It's just there's no, I don't know where you would find anywhere within the Constitution and an immunity clause that says I can get away with doing whatever I want. And I think the only way to really sell this to MAGAs and conservatives that love him is put the shoe on the other foot, do the whataboutism. So if it's true that a president can do whatever they want, if Joe Biden had Donald Trump assassinated and then resigned, do you think he shouldn't be prosecuted for that? He'd get away with it because he was the president. And see if they like that. They're championing his argument because they want him to have total control, which is just ridiculous because they're such morons. They don't realize that he's going to take away their freedom too. They're just pawns in his game, which it's ridiculous that they don't see that. But so that's a clown show argument. And then the second clown show is the hearing where Hunter Biden showed up. It was the select, what is it, a select committee or the subcommittee? It's the, I don't know, whatever, the group that is going to decide whether or not he should be held in contempt of Congress. And if that smaller group of Congress people will make a recommendation to then put it to the floor of the House. And Jim Jordan, I think, is the vice chair of this. Jim Jordan himself defied a congressional subpoena. He was subpoenaed to talk in front of the January 6th Select Committee, and he did not. But nobody went after him for that. No, he's not being prosecuted. He didn't. There's no investigation by Congress. He just got away with it, and he's leading the charge, co-leading the charge to eventually have some legal proceeding against Hunter Biden for not fulfilling his duty from the subpoena. Now, the thing that's hilarious is that Hunter Biden said, "I will gladly speak to you in a public, televised forum, but I will not speak with you behind closed doors." And they said, "We will let you speak in public if you come to speak behind closed doors first." And he said no. And then he showed up today, basically as a way, which I think this is kind of a baller move. Like, I'm here. I'm happy to talk to you guys. See, not afraid. But no one on the GOP will talk to them, and several of the Democrat um, uh, representatives really took a challenge to that, and I was like, let's take a vote. You want to talk to him right now? Nobody, no Republican wants to talk to him in public. Um, One guy, I don't remember who it was, actually put into record all of the subpoenas from Republicans that who defied their subpoena. Mark Meadows, Kevin McCarthy, Jim Jordan, Mo Briggs, like just a whole litany of them, and just kept, here it is, and just throwing it down. I submit into evidence. And he said, if you're serious about this, if you want the subpoena to have some teeth, then add all of these other co-defendants into your bill, and then sure, I'll vote for it. That, because if we're gonna treat him uh, differently than everybody else, then no. And one congresswoman, I don't know who her name is either, said to the committee, you know why no one wants to talk to you behind closed doors is because you all lie. Oh, that's genius. And of course, Nancy Mace is just a miserable human being who wants Hunter Biden arrested right now and thrown in jail. That's not how the justice system works, dum dum. Um, she's just she and Marjorie Taylor Greene, you know, sit right in the same blender. Um, Crap. So that's a clown show, which I'm sure we'll see lots of clips of over the course of the day and tomorrow. And then on The View, Liz Cheney comes out to talk to the ladies. I thought it was fascinating that all six of them were there today, and I wasn't going to miss out. Um, and I don't think Liz Cheney said anything that isn't expected from what Liz Cheney, what you'd think Liz Cheney would say. Um, there, I was desperate for someone at some point to ask her if she'd run for president, which she didn't commit to. She also didn't commit to voting for Joe Biden because she said, "I'm not going to endorse anyone until we know who the candidates are." So it's like that's kind of a cop out move. But she did say the one thing that she said that was interesting that I thought was great, because her whole point about everything that she said is you want to vote for a candidate up and down the ballot that is going to support the Constitution, and that's not Donald Trump, and that is not most of the Republicans. So for her to say, as a Republican, as staunch Republican as she is, old school, non MAGA Republican, she said the Republicans absolutely cannot control the House of Representatives at this election. We need people who will certify the election results um, as certified by every local polling agency across this country. And the Republicans are not making that commitment to certify the results of the election. So that, to me, that was the one interesting thing that she said. Um, you know, the other part was I didn't realize, so I have to give her a little respect for this, that Amy Alyssa Fairfowler Griffin was actually helpful in bringing in other witnesses to the January 6th committee, like Cassidy Hutchinson and some other female staffer, based on you know Liz Cheney's urging. So that, props to you, Amy Alyssa. But her salivating at this whole primary thing, and it's like, and repeating that Joe Biden isn't the best candidate, isn't helping. We know what your position is, and he's not going anywhere. He's not gonna not run. So, like, what do you? That's an unprecedented move for someone after one term to just be like, nah, I'm done. You guys take it from here. It kind of would have been nice. The only problem is if that meant Kamala Harris was going to be the front runner, we're in deep shit, because I don't think she can win the election. Um, but it doesn't matter. Joe's the nominee, and we'll see what happens with the Republican side. I I I did think it was interesting that Whoopi brought up and sort of begged Liz Cheney to bring in a third party, of both sides, which is basically that no labels party, which is bullshit. That whole no labels thing is just a money grab piece of bullshit. Um, and uh, I don't know that that's the answer. I think Liz Cheney is correct that um, there is no cohesive Republican Party. It is in two camps now. It is MAGA and non-MAGA. But the non-MAGA are still so brainwashed about Democrats that being evil that they can't bring themselves to vote for that. And there was discussion yesterday, speaking of voting, about you know whether or not Biden can win, and he's losing young people because he's supporting Israel in this war, and that is true. But and if that's the one issue that I said the other day, if we got to get to the one issue candidate, that one issue voters, if the one issue is his support of Israel and that being seen as supporting genocide, then we're not going to get them because he's not going to change his stance. I wish he would, because that we aren't doing anybody any favors. But also, oh, speaking of Israel, did anybody see any of that footage of the tunnels that were built in Crown Heights in Brooklyn? That the Orthodox Jewish people had been building from, I don't know where they went from one place to another, but the footage of the police coming in, and it was chaos and people getting pulled out of these tunnels, and there's mattresses in there. It was like, what the fuck are they doing? Um, Fascinating. Anyway, um, uh, yeah. So Liz Cheney did not rule out running for president either. And I kind of feel like if Trump is the nominee, she might do it as an intentional spoiler, to give Republicans someone else to vote for to make sure that they go to the polls. But she also said Republicans can't be in charge of the House. So I don't know how how would she be able to, help the down ballot for the Democrats if she ran independent. I don't. It's that one's because I don't think she'll do it, but it would be nice to see her out campaigning for Democrats in the down ballot, even if she's not going to campaign for Joe Biden, although she should. If it gets down to it, if it's just those two, if that's the binary choice we have in November, then all these Republicans, including Amy Farrah Griffin, who keep saying the one thing we cannot allow to happen is to have Donald Trump back in power, better fucking get behind Joe Biden. Because then it isn't, by any means necessary keeping Trump away from the presidency. So you're going to have some choices to make, people, in your hard line. Oh, gosh. What a year it's going to be.